It seems like a lot of people are very intrigued by this upcoming action RPG, The First Descendant. We have a few videos already on the channel going over details about the game, and we do think the trailer looks great and has our interest. But in this one, we're going to round together 5 things that you need to know about the game to give you a better idea about what the game will actually be like and when you'll be able to play it, which is actually sooner than you might think. So if you do enjoy this kind of video, then definitely click like down below to show support, and subscribe for all the other videos coming for you guys over the next couple days. Put in the comments if you've played games like Destiny and if The First Descendant interests you, and we'll jump into it with the closed beta and release information. One of the most important things that you're probably wondering is when we can actually play this game to figure out what it's actually like and if it is as good as it looks. Well, luckily for you, the developers will be hosting a closed beta for the game between October 20th and October 26th. The beta will have up to 10 playable characters to choose from and will only be available on PC. So if you do get in, you have up to 6 days to playtest the game, and if you want to sign up, you simply head over to their website. Even though the closed beta will only be on PC, the final release of the game will be on both consoles and PC, with a release sometime in 2023. So don't feel too bad if you can't play this beta, because the game will be releasing on consoles anyway, you just can't get into this particular closed beta. Next up, let's go over weapons and equipment. We currently don't know too much about the underlying game systems, and we haven't played it ourselves, which we really want to, but the developers have released some information on how equipment will work within the game. Players will be able to equip a variety of different types of loot, with a system allowing them to have up to 3 main weapons, 4 secondary equipment slots, and various sub-weapons. It seems like the game will function similar to Destiny in some ways, with equipment slots, but we currently don't know if the game will have restrictions for what types of weapons will be available for each slot and each class, such as some weapons perhaps only being able to equip one at a time, like heavy weapons, or maybe if they have exotic weapon systems, maybe there'll be restrictions on how many of those you can have at one time as well. It is nice to know though that there will be some kind of build diversity between players due to the sheer amount of slots and equipment available to you as a player. During the trailer, we got to see plenty of different weapons in action, such as the pistols, assault rifles, and even a massive chain gun. For me personally, having those different types of weapons really makes the game feel more fresh and more engaging as you're playing through and trying everything out. So let me know in the comments what your favourite type of weapons in games like this are. Next up, you may be wondering what the objective of the game is and what the lore of the world is. Well, let's go over the story next, because this is what the developers have to say about the story in The First Descendant. The player becomes a descendant in the game and is given a mission to fight against the invaders for the survival of humans and to protect the Ingress continent. The player can experience a spectacular story by growing stronger through various missions and stories to finally discover the Descendant's secret. There's obviously not a lot to go on here. They've only given us a top level, the fact that we are a descendant, that we're fighting against aliens for the survival of humanity, that there's a continent called the Ingress continent, and that there will of course be missions, stories that will grow us in power as we play through, kind of expected there. But to be fair, in these kind of looter shooter games, we mostly care about the gear and fighting and how the gameplay feels, so really I can let that go for now. But I am a bit of a lore head as well, so I would like to know more specifics, but I guess we're going to have to wait until we can play it ourselves to find that out. Next, we have to talk about mobility, because in The First Descendant, the mobility is definitely a big factor that players will have to get to grips with, as there's both grappling hooks and jetpacks, and it does look very fluid and interesting. The grappling hooks seem to be used for both combat but also traversal, with the latest CGI highlighting more so the traversal aspect, with one character actually performing a Spider-Man style web sling, which I really hope is something we can actually do in-game, and hopefully this game will actually pull off this crazy traversal system for both traveling the map but also during actual combat in the gameplay. And next we'll go over the classes, as we do know within the game there is character types and classes, which will of course be a big part of The First Descendant, and we also did get to see a few different abilities of the classes shown in the recent trailers. We currently know that there are 4 different character types or classes depending on how you want to label them. I hope I get their names right here, but the first one is Lepic, which is a versatile fighter with powerful guns built into his arms. Definitely looks really cool for that one. Then there's the Viesa, which is a debuffer who freezes enemies by controlling them with cold air, so more of a support focused class there. But honestly, who doesn't love freezing their enemies so you can follow up with a big hit on them, whether it's from you or your teammates? Speaking of which, the next one is the Bunny, which is going to be a super quick, high damage nuking class with electrical attack types. And there's also the Ajax, which is going to be the tank archetype with space warping skills, and definitely looks really cool, especially if you love to be the survivable tanky one in the group. It's important to note though that there isn't any mention in any of the information that's currently out there if abilities are only tied to that character type, such as other games like Genshin Impact, or if you can actually swap abilities between different characters to make it your own and have a perfect synergy for your playstyle. It's currently unknown, so we're going to have to wait and see until we can get our own hands on the game and understand all of these systems for ourselves. But essentially, for the characters at a top level, you have the ranged fighter, you have the support mage, you have the super fast electrical melee, and then you also have the tank. So there's definitely some traditional archetypes in an MMO that you're probably used to within those characters, and it will definitely be really fun to try them out and see how they actually play and synergize together once we can get our hands on the game. And speaking of which, we want to make it very clear to you guys that while we do think the trailers look good and the information sounds promising, until we can play the game for ourselves through to the end and get an understanding of all the different systems and the gameplay, as well as what the story is, we can't really recommend this game to you guys until we've tried it for ourselves. So we hope that you can appreciate us bringing you the information, but again, we don't actually know what the game is like until we've played it and seen more gameplay. So if you do enjoy these videos and you want to see more, support the video down below by clicking like, and you can subscribe for all the other videos that we already have coming for you guys over the next few days. On the screen now will be 2 more videos that you just might like the look of if you've enjoyed this one. So if you do like them, you can give them a click, watch them, and tell us what you think afterwards, but for now they're on the screen, and tell us what you think in the comments down below.